Hi everyone. So somebody on YouTube asked me if I could make a video on the equipment that I own and use every day in my house, um, as well as fixing stuff. You know, I obviously eventually listen to stuff, so I figured we'll have a look at what I have and what I listen to. Um, the system I listen to the most definitely be my Technics flat system. I've pretty much now restored all the components. Pretty much they're all fresh and new. They all work fantastic now. I have all the components for the system except for the meters, which, you know, I don't really care having those at all, really. I even have, of course, the rack that it all goes into. Have all the original brochures as well. And the original rack screws that it came with. I didn't really like those. I put my own in. So what does it consist of? Well, on the top there, you can see it's got the tuner, the ST9030. That's a great tuner. Definitely up there with the best. Really good selectivity and very sensitive tuner. It's got a fantastic sound to it as well. Below it is the preamp, SU9070. It's a great preamp. It's got a fair bit of gain. It's got the MC input, which is definitely handy. It also has the ability to record and play at the same time, which has actually come in handy a couple times. Below it is the parametric equalizer with adjustable frequency and bandwidth. Technics by Panasonic SH9010 is what that is. And then two power amps. These are bridged into mono for each of the speakers. I think they're bridged at, I think they're about 180 or 200 watts a channel when they're bridged. Underneath, inside the cabinet, I have just an old JVC tape deck. I don't really listen to tapes very much, but it's good having it just in case. I have a little display thing that I got from a stereo store that was going out of business a couple of years ago, so that's kind of fun. The turntable fitted to this system, which I use quite a lot actually now, is an Oracle Delphi Mark II. It's fitted with a Decca tone arm and a Grace F8 cartridge, moving magnet. I just kind of finished restoring that. It was originally my dad's, it went to a family member and then came back 25 years later. Not so great shape. So it took me a while. I put new springs, new bearings, and readjusted all the tone arm and everything exactly the way it's supposed to be, and it sounds absolutely beautiful. So that's the system. The speakers that I listen to with that system are the two large Paradigms on the speaker stands there. They're the Paradigm 7 SEs. Fairly deep speaker. Fairly good sounding speaker as well. Nothing too special, just what you'd expect. It's a single 10-inch woofer and a 1-inch tweeter. Ported as well. Pretty heavy overall. Really well built. Pretty solid enclosure. To supplement those Paradigms, I have a Macintosh. I'm not really sure what model it is. It's this monster here. Way more sub than I ever need, for sure. Definitely goes real low in the frequency. That's the neighbors know it as well. Not much else to say about that other than, yeah, way more sub than I ever need. So that's the main system. The rest of the stuff I own is inside the rack there, which I kind of just finished putting together. Let's have a look inside. At the top there, I have just a couple of tuners. Top there's the Yamaha tuner, just a cheap tuner I use just for playing music at night. Just background noise. The Vector Research tuner below it is just a matching pair with the other Vector Research integrated amp I have. Fairly decent tuner, nothing too special about it, as you'd expect. Sony 5-disc changer for CDs that I don't really tend to listen to very much anymore. Although I should probably listen to a few. Below that is the Luxman R113. It's an absolute gem of a receiver. If anybody comes across one of those, I highly recommend it. It's a really great sounding receiver. It's not hugely powerful. It's rated at 30 or 35 a channel, but it's got some real punch to it and it sounds great. It's even got a great phono stage on it. Below it's the Vector Research integrated amp, VA 1100. I have the original box and manual and everything for most of the stuff, including this. It's just rebranded Rotel, I think, probably from, you know, the mid or early to mid 80s. Decent sounding. It's got a fair bit of power. I think it's 70 or 80 watts a channel, so it's got some pretty good power behind it. It's got 8 output transistors per channel, so it's actually a pretty decently put together receiver. These buttons are kind of a pain in the ass though, definitely. Below that is the Audio Research SP6A preamp, which I use quite a lot now. Absolutely brilliant preamp. Just amazing sound. Absolutely amazing phono stage on it as well. The only complaint I can say about this is it does have a crap load of gain. Like an insane amount of gain. So, you know, with modern sources like your CD player and such, you know, you're listening to it like there, like tops. So, you know, they say, you know, your best signal noise is in here, so you have to adjust your sources in order to get into that zone. Below that, which that of course feeds into, is the Amber Series 70 amp, which I have in another video. I was fixing it. Just a gain clone amp, 70 watts a channel rated, fairly good punchy amp. Little power conditioning system there. Not so much those systems do, but it's always nice to see how much power you're sucking from the wall when you really turn it up high. And then below it's just my my little NAS server put together out of a modified Control 4 home controller. Modded the insides out and installed a BSD operating system on there. Works pretty well. The speakers, like the secondary pair of speakers that I listen to with, you know, the equipment in here, nothing special, just a pair of Polk Audio. I think they're the 5JRs. Again, nothing amazing, pretty decent sounding. You know, they're reasonably cheap to find used, and overall fairly nice sound. So the top of this rack, I have my second turntable, which is a Pioneer PL255, fitted a Negaoka MP110 cartridge to it, and then rebuilt all the guts inside to make it run really well. Actually, a really good turntable. It was very surprising once I was done how good it sounds. Very happy with that. So I use both those turntables, both that one and that one, quite a lot. I mean, I listen to mostly vinyl. I've got some tapes, just checking those out. And then I listen to some digital stuff as well, of course. I have some stuff, of course, that I don't need necessarily in the rack. I have this absolute monster Bell's 200 power amp. It's way more power than I need in this room, so it's just a side. I did, of course, refurbish that one as well. I replaced a bunch of components and put it back into a really good state of tune, so it's ready to go when I need it, but don't tend to use it because it's way too powerful. And then I actually do have a third turntable, which a lot of people will recognize. Yep, it's a Linn LP12. Not in the best state of running right now. It kind of works, but kind of not at the same time. It's got an SME tone arm and some sort of Linn cartridge on it. I'm not exactly sure what it is, but actually it's probably that one. Linn K18, probably that's the cartridge that's on there. Eventually I'll get that running. So yeah, there it is in all of its glory. Definitely not the best system out there, but definitely not the worst. And for me, it's just music to my ears because that's how I determine what goes in here, is how I like the sound. If I do like the sound, then it stays. If I don't, I look for something else and I swap it out. Yeah. Anyways, bye for now.